What is up, guys? Welcome to JS Racing. My name is Jason. So it's been a very, very long time since I last did any changes or updates to the rear sprocket alignment laser and also the, I think the wheel alignment laser as well. So both of these things, I really wanted to make it so that it's like operated on a switch and without having to put in a laser pen. So that's actually the version that I've been using the most up until this point, and it's basically just a seat with a, with a laser pen. So it's a very sort of very basic sort of thing. It's just a seat with a clip, so it's not very high-tech looking. But after a long time of sort of figuring out what sort of design I need to go for, I've finally come up with this. It's all packed into this little case, and there's a button at the bottom, and then you just press it. That's it. So battery, everything is inside, and I actually did like quite a few versions of this. The very first version was like this black one. So what I did was actually a very stupid idea, actually. So this is the cover, and what goes inside this cover is actually like this little thing, this little tab. And what it does is it's sort of like sticks up from the cover, and the function is it would just like slide in between the batteries inside the compartment and then just cut off the circuit. So basically that's what it does, but apparently that didn't work. The contact plates, the springiness or whatever you call it, it's just too strong. So it's never able to sort of cut off the supply, and then it's always on, and then after a couple of hours it would just run out of battery. So yeah, this design did not work, but I kept basically the case, and I just did some modifications. So in the beginning, it looks very simple. It's just like a battery bay. And then I updated the design to this, and if you look, there's a switch hole, and then there's like this compartment for the switch. But this design was still pretty bad because all the wires, everything is cramped together, so it doesn't look very nice. So I did another update, and I came up with this cartridge system. So what happens is, like, all the things are sort of wired together. Like, so that's the laser tip, that's the switch, everything's wired together, and then everything is put inside this compartment. So what you'd see is just this cartridge, and it'll cover up all of the cables, all the nasty looking bits, and the end result is this. So I'll open this up and I'll show you what it looks like inside. So there you go. That's what it looks like inside. It's just like, you don't see any wire, you don't see like the switch, you don't see the laser tip, and everything is concealed. It looks nice. Well, I screwed up the the thread there, but yeah. The final product would definitely look a lot nicer, not a lot more refined, but yeah, this was printed at like draft sort of level, so it doesn't look very detailed. But anyway, so that's basically what it looks like now, and it just looks very clean, I mean, it still looks a bit nasty because of that thread, but yeah, it looks a lot nicer now. So that's the updated version of the rear sprocket alignment laser. So how far have I come along? So this is the very, very first design. This is literally a seat with a, slot in the middle. So this clips onto the 219 chain system, and the rear sprocket is just about this thick. But what I discovered was the rear sprockets come in different thicknesses. So this didn't work with thicker sprockets. So I came up with the second version, which is sort of like a spring clip. So this one works a lot better. It's a lot shorter, and I found a much better looking laser pen. But obviously this wasn't a very elegant solution, so I came up with this. And this one, as I mentioned before, the switch system was stupid. So yeah, finally I came up with all these updated versions. So the green one was like the very first version, where I had the switch idea at the bottom, but all the cables and wires, all the contact plates were like exposed, so it didn't look nice. So then this red one was like the first prototype. Well, actually this white one was the very first prototype. This was like printed real draft, and for some reason it screwed up the print. So yeah, there's a lot of jagged edges and stuff. But yeah, so the red one is a much better prototype. So a lot of the sizes, everything, after I measured it, I refined it from this version to this finalized blue version. So yeah, I mean, I'm going to be making a much better looking one. So this one, it's going to go to my friend. I'm not keeping this. So another thing that I've been working on was the wheel alignment. No, yeah, the wheel alignment laser. So this is what it looks like. So this is like what you'd use like the sniper for the front wheels. And it's very similar to that. Well, I mean, I'd say it's exactly the same as that. But yeah, again, this is my own version. And this was the very, very first prototype. And it's very, very heavy. It's like a solid block of plastic. And yeah, it didn't work very well. But well, I mean, it's it's just way too heavy. So I came up with a second version, which is this, and I sort of hollowed out all the stuff inside, and basically it's still the same idea as my earlier versions of the rear sprocket alignment laser, which is just a seat for a laser pen. But again, it's not a very elegant solution. And on top of that, I thinned out the bottom way too much. So after I put in the magnets and I tried to secure it in place, the magnets would stick out quite a bit from the seat. And what happened was all of these little protruding parts, when you put it onto the axle, whatever, I think the stub axle, whatever you call it, it wouldn't line up properly. It was all wrong. Like the laser point was like really, really off, and it just didn't work well at all. So the finalized version, which is this one, okay, it's a lot lighter, okay, and also the bottom, the seat is a lot thicker. On top of that, I'm using a much smaller magnet. It's seated inside a lot more. So this version would, theoretically speaking, sit on the axle a lot more accurately, hopefully. And there's the level, the spirit level here. And this one uses the cartridge system also. So from that rear sprocket alignment laser, I'm using the same idea as here. So the cartridge would just fit inside here, and there's a cover that goes onto this, covers everything up, and there's a switch. So it looks a lot nicer, and hopefully it will work. I mean, all of this stuff, like in the front, really doesn't matter. What matters the most is how this actually fits onto the axle and if it actually lines up properly, because, plastic, it warps. There's bits and pieces protruding out. So it's very hard to guarantee that even if you don't have any magnets fixed to the bottom, that it would sit perfectly, So, I mean, the snipers are machined, very precisely. So, yeah, I don't know if the plastic solution is going to work very well. If not, doesn't matter. I have all the models of these, wheel alignment lasers. I can have them CNC'd. That way, I can ensure that it's completely accurate. Anyway, so that's the idea anyway. So I'm going to print a much more detailed version. This was just a draft to check out all the sizes, dimensions, everything. And it looks like everything fits quite well. So I will be printing another one with, 0.12 sort of detail. And hopefully it'll come out very well. So yeah, I'm going to be doing that for the rear sprocket alignment laser. So that's the plate I've prepared for tomorrow. This is going to take about 10 hours to print. So it's already very late at night. So I'm going to be printing that in the morning. So yeah. Anyway, so that's it for this video. I'm quite happy with the result of the rear sprocket alignment laser with the switch. And unfortunately, it's not waterproof, but I mean, there's really not much going on in there, so I don't really think that any water is going to cause a lot of damage to this. But anyway, yeah, I'll think of something, maybe some rubber seals or something in the future. But as a first attempt for a switch operated alignment laser, I think it works pretty well. So and one more thing about this rear sprocket alignment laser is that this laser is only for use on 219 sprockets. So those are the kinds of chains that you see on like the X30s, Rotax Max, those guys, they use a very thin chain. But I also use very thick chains like the 420, 428, those guys which are more used on motorbikes. So the reason for the heavier chain is it lasts a lot longer. It doesn't break as easily. It doesn't slip out of sprocket as easily. So it's much better for like long-term application. So if you wanted to use the engines for like everyday operation, then you'd want the thicker chains to make sure that it doesn't break as easily. The thinner chains are a lot lighter, which is much better for the engine. So that I'll use it for my personal engine just to have fun. So the thinner chain is a lot lighter. So the difference between the 219 and 420 or the 428 is that this thick bit, right? It's a lot thinner on the 428 because you have to account for the thicker sprockets. But other than that, the rest is the same. So, but unfortunately, because I use two different kinds of sprockets, I will have to print two different kinds for the laser. I'd say the body. Yeah, I have to print two different kinds to make sure that the sprockets are aligned properly. There's a difference of about 1 millimeter. So yeah, it's still quite significant. But anyway, so yeah, that's it for this video. So it's just to update you guys on the new idea for the alignment laser. So yeah, it works pretty well. And hopefully I'll be able to make it look a lot nicer and decent enough that I can actually sell it. Anyway, that's it for now. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.